This is Twit.
A New York mom is suing Google. This is a really good story.
Yeah, it is.
She's suing Google over the fact that her 5-year-old son bought $65 worth of virtual currency inside a game on her Android tablet. So, this woman in New York, class action lawsuit. Her 5-year-old son racked up $65.95 of charges from a game called Crystals on her tablet. She had password protection on. The password protection for Google Play is a 30-minute window of deactivation once a password is entered. So parent uses the password to install a game for a kid and then hands the kid the device. A game maker might know this and sort of upsell in-app purchases kind of early on in the game and prompt the kid with power-ups and in-app purchases in that 30-minute window. And if the kid who was 5 taps and purchases, kid could spend a whole lot of money. So it's an interesting case because, Apple paid $32.5 million in fines related to this particular scenario as well. So we're going to see kind of where this goes. I mean, when I first saw this headline, my first reaction was, oh, but Android has kid mode. They have kid profiles. Like there's ways to limit that. And then my second thought was, wow, this 5-year-old, that's pretty good. I was impressed by how well he used the game. I don't know. Do you guys think that Google has responsibility here that they should have that they should do more to limit in-app purchases, especially with games that are made for kids, or is this kind of just a trumped-up lawsuit?
I don't understand the purpose of the 30-minute window, so you don't have to type in your password every time. I mean, if it's a payment situation, I think for privacy purposes and for security purposes, that should be a must.
Agreed.
I know with iOS, that's also the situation that if you download an app, it gives you 15 minutes that you could download another app without having to type in the password. But it really should be the situation where, especially if there's going to be a monetary transfer, you need to put in your thumbprint, you need to put in your passcode or something. At the same token, though, this is the parents need to be educated about this. I don't know where they would be educated about this, but when my son wants to use my phone and he sees that he can buy more gas for the car in the Ridge Racer game that I'm playing, he says, hey, can I pay for this? And I just outright say, no, you cannot. And he says, okay, and he doesn't buy it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the type of relationship with the phone that he has. He knows that he has to ask me, and that's what parents need to take a little bit more responsibility on their end, that they need to say, okay, I'm giving my child this device that has all of my information on it. And even with the kid mode, I need to take the proper and necessary steps to make sure I'm not going to get hit in the long run. So sure, Google needs to do something, and the developer, they need to stop these bait apps. That's just not, that's not good for anybody. But
I mean, Tony, I agree with you. I agree with you on one part, but I'm going to play devil's advocate and disagree on the other part. I absolutely agree with you that there's an education process has to happen with parents and the kids. And the scenario that you say where the kid's playing the game and, hey, can I buy this? And yes or no. And I mean, in this case, if this was me and I did this on my dad's phone, I don't get to use the phone anymore. That's how it works. That's how, that there's got to be that management of the child. That said, the constant putting in of passwords drives me crazy. And and I know it's not secure, and I know it's not the popular safe thing, but one of the reasons why I was so happy to get away from iTunes and iOS and all that fun stuff was because it asked me to put in my password every time I did anything. And there's a certain point where I'm the only person using my device. I have control of it. I want a window where, I'm playing this game. I don't have to type in my password every time, because guess what? My password is 16 characters. It's got capitals. It's got characters and all that sort of stuff. To have to type that in every time is gonna make me not want to use the device anymore. So there's got to be.
What does your password look like?
I know. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Same password on my luggage.
Yeah, I was gonna say cue the luggage joke.
But anyway, but the thing is that so I agree that the 30-minute window probably is too generous. There probably needs to be some sort of additional windowing or additional switching between when an app is an in-app purchase and how it controls what a monetary purchase is and the approval of that. I think that they still need to develop how that's handled.
Just a little sway bar that says you want a 30-minute window, 15-minute window, 10 window. That would be fine, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with all of you. No, I mean, honestly, I feel like in this regard, there are three players, right? There's the parents, there's the there's Google, and then there's the developers, and they're all kind of contributing for this perfect storm. And I do think that Google, I would love to have to enter in a password all the time, but I would love the choice to be able to do that. I think the problem though on Android is that so many of things are options that then you kind of get lost in the fact that it was an option. And well, I didn't know it was an option, and because there's so many options that you have, and then it gets complicated because of that. Shortening the window period would be good. Developers have to know what they're doing when they're promoting these power-ups on kids' games early on in the game. Because how many times have I installed a game or a book, like a Dr. Seuss book, through the Play Store and immediately handed it to my kid because she wants something right now. I'm like, oh hey, here's something, here, have it. Like, it never occurred to me that there was a 30-minute window, and I feel educated about Android stuff, and that never occurred to me.
But you can't depend on the developers to do anything, because guess what? We live in America.
No,
they want to make money, and so
absolutely. So they're going to do it.
It is no different than the impulse aisle at Walgreens. Right. You know what I mean? Like at the Walgreens by my office, there is a spiral of a walkway through that you need to go through that is filled with candy and toys and all that sort of stuff. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
And the user has to show a level of restraint and a level of education with the child who's using it. And then Google has to do what they can to build parameters around what the developers can do. But the developers will do everything they can to get every dollar from you, because it's capitalism.
Fair enough. That's a great point. Jeff Needles in the chat room says, how about a little prompt that says, don't ask me for the next X minutes, or a way to deactivate it, tick it off, so that when it's deactivated, then it's not saving your password. Honestly, in my mind, I always thought that it was prompting me for my password every time. That's where this story just kind of took me by surprise. It was like, 30-minute window. I've never heard of this 30-minute window. And then when I really thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. It totally is, because there are times when I install apps and it doesn't prompt me, and I just never thought twice about it. It's probably because I just installed something a few minutes before. Yeah. So there is a level of education around that. And yeah, I mean, do you blame the parents for not knowing this kind of obscure functionality that happens behind the scenes? I don't know. Parents are responsible, but I think Google's also responsible. So there you go.
And restricted profiles are a fairly pretty new feature.
How many people are using restricted profiles?
But it's only on tablets, right?
Again, I think it is actually on tablets, and it's not on phones. And again, it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, it's another feature. Yes, it's awesome to have it, but how much does the public really know and understand the power or the benefit of doing that, or even that it exists in the first place to do it? I bet you, I guarantee you, so many parents have Android tablets and they have no idea that this kind of restricted profile thing even exists, and they're doing this, installing and handing to their kids because they don't know any better. And I don't know the answer to that. I mean, it's kind of what we love about Android too, is that it has all of these things. So.
Right. This actually did happen on a tablet. And I mean, Google could very easily make the argument in court, like, we've built this feature into our operating system to prevent this very scenario from happening. If this mom had used this feature, restricted profile feature, this wouldn't have happened. Like, I'm trying to imagine, like, can Google prove that they've made an honest effort to prevent this kind of situation? Because she's saying that, the developers are exploiting kids, and that Google's letting them.
Right. And Ron, I completely agree with you. It is like the candy at the aisle, but the candy never costs $100. Like, give it, these power-ups, like, right off the top. Like, my kid knows that when there's a little prompt, she's going to click it, because she knows that that's a behavior on tablets and computers now. So when she sees a little prompt with a little thing, she's not going to know that pressing that is a $100 charge. The developer knows that. And I would venture to guess that a lot of people don't knowingly click the $100 upgrade. Like, why would you buy $100 worth of goods in a game unless you're a super fan? And I'm not saying that there aren't super fans of games, but anyways. So I think, in that regard, I think, yes, the responsibility is shared.